Hello, I'm Diane, and I believe that if we listen closely, life is going to reveal things to us. But I'm thinking when we're young, we don't have the ability to pay attention, which leads to mistakes and mishaps. I decided to marry for the second time to a boy that I went to school with all of my life. We graduated together. We were just, I don't know that you'd call us friends. We were acquaintances. We knew each other. So I met him one day at church, accidentally, and we started dating. Then I decided to marry him. Now, down deep, I had a feeling that probably wasn't a good idea. He was a little bit not truthful with me. He was superficial. You know, you couldn't have any kind of a deep conversation with him. He would just check out if you started talking about anything that was worthy of a conversation. I forgot to turn the air off. Is that bothering anybody? I'm sorry. So he was working. I was a teacher. So we decided to get married on a Friday afternoon and just have the weekend because we had to go back to work on Monday. That would be okay. So on Friday afternoon, his parents, my two children, met at the church and were married. Then we headed off to Atlanta for a fun weekend. It was at the end of the disco age. Do y'all remember that? We both loved to go dancing. So I was thinking, we'd probably do that. But we're going to Atlanta. So that was the plan in my mind, although we had never discussed what we would be doing. Because we don't discuss things. So right before we got to Atlanta, he discovered that he forgot his wallet. Oh my God, he forgot his wallet, and we're almost in Atlanta. Now back then, you didn't have debit cards. You traveled with cash or a checkbook or a credit card. He didn't have any of that, and I was a single mom. I didn't travel with cash either. Didn't know I had to. Should have thought I had, but I didn't. So he said, "Oh, my uncle lives here. I'll call him in the morning. We'll go over and borrow a few hundred from him, and I'll send it back to him when we get home." Okay, that sounds like a reasonable plan. So glad your uncle lives in Atlanta. So we got up. Of course, we can't eat breakfast or anything, so we got ready. He had already called his uncle, so we immediately went to their home. Well, they were so glad to see us. Just the loveliest couple you'd ever want to meet. Now, we're in our late 20s. They're in their late 50s. Okay? So we sat down and started talking. And later, the lady, the aunt, I'm not going to call anybody's name, said, "Oh, I'm going to fix lunch for us." Okay, good idea. Okay, so she fixed lunch. We ate lunch with them. After lunch, my husband and my uncle kind of disappeared. I don't know where they went. So now I'm stuck with an aunt who just talks incessantly. Let me tell you, she was a lovely person. Lovely. Kindest, sweetest, wonderful person. Couldn't have asked for anybody to be any sweeter. Okay. She talked about her hobbies and her friends and what she did in Atlanta and the vacation she and her husband had went on. I mean, I just heard all kinds of things. Now, I'm an introvert. You all know that. So I'm just sitting there kind of listening, wondering, when in the crap are we going to leave? I mean, this is Saturday. So the day wore on, and they said, oh, we have to take you guys out to eat to celebrate your marriage. Yes, we'll take you out to eat. Well, we went out to eat with these lovely, lovely people. This is not what I had in mind for a honeymoon. But okay. So we spent the entire evening with them, went back to their house to get our car, and finally we left. I mean, it's bedtime. I know we're 20-something, but oh my gosh, we've had a tiring day just, talking. So, on the way back to the hotel, now it was in the middle of Atlanta on Peachtree Street, and I cannot think of the name of it, but it's that tall one right in the middle of Atlanta. We were on the 71st floor. Beautiful room. The whole end of our room was windows. Fantastic view. Beautiful. I mean, the start of a lovely marriage, right? Okay. So on the way back to the room, he said nothing about, I forgot to tell you something very important. As we're leaving, the aunt says, now we're fixing breakfast for y'all in the morning. You have to come over and eat breakfast now before y'all leave town. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Of course, my husband, okay, thank you, we'll be here. Oh my God. So on the way back to the room, he said nothing about how we had spent the day. Hope I enjoyed myself. Nothing. No apology. Nothing. It just wasn't mentioned. As I told you, he was superficial. He really talked about nothing. Okay, so we got up the next morning, got ready to go have breakfast with his aunt and uncle on our honeymoon. Okay, so we got there, had breakfast. My husband and the uncle disappeared again. Here I am with the aunt. Oh, let's look at photos. I want to show you your husband's family and all. I've been in the family for years. Let's look at the photo. Okay, she drags out the big box of photos. And I look at photographs for 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. Finally, the guys come in. They start looking at photos. Oh, I remember that. Remember, I don't know these people. I don't even know my husband that I just married. What am I doing here? I'm going to say it again. These people were lovely. They were lovely. But I was on my honeymoon. They were great hosts, but we were not guests. We were on our freaking honeymoon. And they just overly nice, just insinuated themselves to take over our honeymoon. I don't know. Okay. Late afternoon, we have to drive home. We have a 3.5 hour drive home. So we finally left. He never said anything about the fact that we just spent the whole weekend with his aunt and uncle that I did not know. Now, if he had said, let's go spend the weekend with my aunt and uncle, you'll really like them, I would have gone, no, I don't think so. Would you go spend the weekend with your aunt and uncle? Have you ever spent the weekend with your aunt and uncle? No. Why would I want to? I don't know these people. Okay, he never said anything. He never apologized for the weekend. Nothing. So in my mind, I'm thinking his silence is saying, you will have to endure whatever I put you through. I will never apologize for anything, and I will never put you first. Ever. Ever. That's what he told me by his silence. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Now, and so it was. And that was the whole crux of our marriage. How about that wallet? How about that forgotten wallet? That was a precursor to almost everything that was wrong in our marriage. He was a financial, he's still alive. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He really is. But finance is not his thing. Okay? And he can't help his personality, who he is. I mean, he was very closed off. And, you know, he didn't speak about much. Unless it were, oh, he talks all the time. All the time, but it's superficial stuff. It's just chatter. You know, that's why he's so likable. Everybody loves him. He just, yeah, you know. But have a meaningful conversation, can't be done. It can't be done. I tried many times. And then I was met with silence. Anyway, back to the wallet. Every 3 months, like clockwork, every 3 months something financial would pop its ugly head up that I knew nothing about. I'm talking large sums. And me being who I am, I would try to solve them. I'm not a hateful person or mean person. I didn't scream and raise my voice and call him names and all of that. I just said, what? Why did you do that? No comment. Well, I mean, you know, I had this going on or that, or nothing made sense that he said. Okay. But I think the wallet was a clue. If you listen carefully, life will tell you things. It will. I wonder why you have to be so dumb when you're young. As older people, would we make the same mistakes? I don't think so. I wouldn't. That's why I have no man, have never looked for another man, and will never look for a man. But that was a nightmare honeymoon. It may not sound like it to you, but to me, it was a nightmare. I'm going to let you go. Love's coming your way from me.